conversation now amongst NDIA affiliates is the definition of digital inclusion and whether or not we are actually closing the digital divide. And general agreement is we will never close the digital divide because the goal keeps moving. So you can't reach a goal when the goal doesn't stay still. So as all of us are always learning and technology is always changing, those two factors mean that there's always going to be somebody left out in the cold. And so we're always going to be reaching towards that. But we can increase the numbers that do have access and the numbers that are on the path of digital learning. And so that's the goal right there. So if I can suggest things that you all can think about, it is funding for digital literacy training, funding for devices, and it's working out arrangements with providers to have low-cost options. Another thing for you all to think about is planning. When you have planning grants, that there be a digital literacy or digital inclusion component. So the term digital inclusion generally is a more broad term, and digital literacy is something that happens inside of digital inclusion. So digital inclusion is the digital literacy piece, but then it's also the other two legs of the stool, essentially. It's the access at home for a reasonable cost and at a good quality. And it's also the access to the devices that are also reasonable cost and good quality and that actually meet someone's needs. So one example to look at is Connect Maine. They just awarded 4 planning grants, and those planning for communities and those local community planning grants have a digital inclusion component where it was required. It was required that they think about the digital literacy piece. Often in infrastructure planning projects, the digital literacy or the digital inclusion is this afterthought. So what we really love to see, perfect world kind of thing, is that it's not an afterthought, but it's considered ahead of time, so that as the infrastructure projects are being figured out, because they are quite complex, is that they figure out that the piece of it that is accessibility for everyone, and how do we get there, so that it's not something that one struggles with afterwards, but is thought of ahead of time. So I try to keep that short because I want to jump into questions and thoughts that you all have.
Okay, we are back on. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Okay, and I